Always bringing the news every Monday and Tuesday. Well, when we're around at the very least. We are. So good morning, everybody on Mixcloud, G-Force, Jack's Happy, Verona, Melly Mel, Mr. Sharky DJ, Wolfmeister, Kimmy Kim, Donald Brown, and also, wow, did I say good morning to you, Sharky DJ?
You did indeed.
Ah.
You did.
Well, sorry
But
about...
if
sorry
you didn't, you'll be forgiven.
some news. Now, first of all, did we have any Diddy updates, Mr. Sharky DJ? Have you been on the Diddy watch this week?
I did see a little bit of the Diddy stuff, but I can't remember what it was. But yeah, there was some significant little bit of changes, and I was watching a young lady talking in depth about what had happened to her. And also she named somebody else that was behind it, but I actually hasn't got the story correct. So I need to get my facts before I actually bring that out. So yes.
Ah, well, I do have some Diddy news for you, just in case you didn't actually. So the ex rapper Shine, remember he was involved in the nightclub shooting drama, whereby he took the hit, allegedly. Word on the street says J-Lo was carrying the gun.
Yep.
P. Diddy shot it a few times, hit one woman in the face, and of course he blamed it on Shine. Now Coombs has reportedly sent a cease and desist letter about his old protege Shine. He's got a new documentary that's come out, and Sean Coombs is not very happy about it. So Shine is basically alleging that he took the fall for Coombs over this infamous nightclub shooting case, which is over 25 years ago now. So yes, he's submitted that to Shine and his producers. Is he going to take any notice of it? Who knows? Who knows? All I know is that he was the only one that was convicted of assault and recklessness endangerment. He's now a politician in Belize, and he served 8 years in jail. Now, his new documentary is called The Honourable Shine, Shine, and it addresses the incidents, okay, and because of, Sean Coombs' ways is coming to light now, so of course everyone's jumping on the bandwagon and starting to talk about what really happened as opposed to just taking the fall.
Yeah, but that lady, the funny thing is that the lady who actually got shot in the face, testified and said, I saw Puff pull out the gun and I saw him shoot the gun. She actually turned around and said that it was him that done it. But funny enough, he managed to get away with it, even though there was a star witness there that actually saw the shooting and she was ignored. So, is it a case of money talks?
It definitely was a case of money talks. I think we know that now. Lady B says Shine is a politician looking to become Prime Minister of Belize. He's attempting to clear his name. I think he should clear his name. He was left to rot 8 years in jail. We all know that he didn't shoot, but P. Diddy did.
Yeah.
And P. Diddy got away with it. So I would want to clear my name as much as I could. I mean, he spent 8 years in jail. He took the hit for Diddy, J-Lo and anybody else that was involved in that incident. And I bet, he's a changed guy. He hasn't come out of jail and he's not selling drugs and going back on the streets. If he was an unscrupulous character before, you bet at bottom dollar he probably isn't now. Let's hope he's not now.
Yeah.
All right. And this is not just a facade. But he believes he was made the fall guy. This is his time. Let's tell the story. It's about time we're hearing the story of Sean Diddy, Nasty Dutty Love. That's what I call him. What's the name I had for him? Nasty Dutty Love.
Nasty Dutty Love. Do you know what? They say when the chickens come home to roost, there comes a time where you're getting away with so much for so long.
Yeah.
There comes a time where, if you're doing wrong, it will come to light at some point. And I think Sean realized that, he's not untouchable. He was untouchable. He got away with literally murder on many, many, many occasions. And, it's one of the most spoken about things. He's one of the most feared people in the music business and around Hollywood. He tried to basically he did this enterprise of criminal activity right throughout the whole of the not only music industry but the acting industry as well, and he also tried to get in through the politicians and everybody, but I think now he's just bitten off a little bit more than he can chew. and
He's
he's going to be
he's
chewing some tough bread in some tough prison somewhere in the
oh, he's going to be
USA.
chewing. P Diddy's going to be a chewing. He's going to be getting something.
He
Trust
likes
me.
men. There's a lot of men where he is. I'm sure
You know,
he'll be
and obviously
satisfied.
obviously he's getting favors if he could use a mobile phone and all sorts of things and monitoring his traffic. He's getting some favors somewhere. Someone's
Mm,
representing Shine.
mm,
If you understand the pun there. If you
yeah.
don't, I'm sorry, I can't help you. I can't help you if you don't. But let's get on to some different news now. And Shadstar.
Adelaide said apparently Shine did bust shots in that club too. Not sure if he shot someone. Has I do? What's that say? I'm trying to make out. Watch America's YouTubers. Okay, Shine isn't totally innocent. Okay, but I was
No,
trying to work out.
I don't believe that Shine is totally innocent at all. But did he fire shots? Has there any been reports that Shine fired any shots? If he did, how many bullets were shot?
Hmm. I
Could it
mean,
have just come from one gun or two?
hmm. I mean,
So
I
did they
wouldn't.
take a gun fight? Sorry, did P Diddy take a gun fight? Someone give it back to Shine, or vice versa? There's never been any stories about that.
Hmm.
Maybe that's something that needs to be looked into.
It could be.
Okay. Lady B says he did admit to shooting, but he said it was in self-defense. Thanks, Lady
There
B,
you
for
go.
that. Yeah.
There you go.
Right, so he's not totally innocent, but it took 8 years. Nor was P. Diddy totally innocent, but he got nothing. He got the key to New York.
And Miami, and Miami,
He got lots. He got
which
lots. He got lots.
which has been revoked.
But anyway, enough about Diddy news. I'm
Mm.
looking forward to May to see what's going on. And good morning, Shazstar99. Grand
Good
risings to
morning,
you, my
Shasta.
lovely.
Yeah.
Good to see you on the airwaves, as usual, tuning in to the Breakfast Flight Show. I've got lots of news to talk about. I kind of want to talk about inheritance tax. That's been on the news quite recently. The farmers are kicking up a fuss because of the amount of inheritance tax they're going to have to pay on their land. We are kicking up a fuss because of and I hope you guys know the inheritance tax rules. And for those of you that don't have wills in place, it's going to cause an almighty problem for your children in terms of your estate if you own a house. It is not as simple as you die and it automatically goes to the kids. It is not as simple as that, especially if you don't have a will. It's a nightmare. So for those that don't, please get one, and we'll talk about that shortly. And I'm going to bring it back to the virtual couch. You're looking very low, Sharky. Ah, there you go. I'm going to bring it
Decide
back
to
to the
sit
virtual
down.
couch because it's a very important topic that I think we all need to take notice of. But I'll talk about that later in the show. Now, one of the things I want to talk about is music. There's been a lot of noise in the music industry at the moment about how much people are being paid according to the streams, especially off Spotify and iTunes. And what's the other one that Jay-Z owns? What's that other music stream?
No idea.
Oh, come on. He owns that other Tidal.
Oh,
And Tidal. So they're saying they're not making a lot of money. I think it's 0.00003, which is less than 3 pence, basically less than a penny for each stream, which is not a lot of money. You have to be doing over 9 million streams each time to even try and break even to an amount.
mm,
But we've got lots of stars that are coming up saying that they're going to make money off a different way because streaming online isn't doing it. Touring is becoming notoriously expensive. So the only way that they can fund themselves is by
mm.
what? What was we talking about the other day? Going on OnlyFans.
OnlyFans. Oh yeah. Oh
You know, this
gosh.
thing about OnlyFans, I need to check into it. I do need to check into it. Maybe I could use my voice. Maybe I could just have dulcet tones and talk about
Maybe.
stuff. You know? Could do
Maybe.
that. Do
Mm.
the Breakfast Flight Show on OnlyFans. Let's see if we can make some money. But Lily Allen and Kate Nash are the two next stars that are stepping into this arena saying that they have to sell their souls to the devil in order to make money for their up and coming tours. They just can't
Mm.
afford it. Kate Nash says she's got a wonderful ass and that she's going to be selling pictures of it on there. Lily Allen is talking about her perfectly coiffured feet, as she says. And she's opened up a subscription page and she says she's making more money on her OnlyFans page than she does making music. How can that be? How can your
Wow.
music be streaming so many million streams and yet you can't make money from it and you have to resort to OnlyFans?
Don't know. Um, I suppose people have to just do what they got to do to make a living. Because
If I said work is not paying me enough and I could show my armpits on showing how I put deodorant on my armpits on OnlyFans and I was making a killing, is that all right?
yeah, it's only armpits in it. It's nothing.
Is that all right for everybody else? Shazstar, would
Yeah.
you go on OnlyFans? G-Force, what would you show on OnlyFans? What have you got to show on OnlyFans that's worthy of people paying for it? What would you sell? That's what I'd like to know from everybody. If you had a chance to go on OnlyFans without it being sexual, let's forget the sex element, let's just take that out. If you could do something on OnlyFans and there was no sexual element, what would you do? There's one for you.
Show my hands. I've got lovely hands.
You got lovely
Show my
hands.
feet. Yeah.
Or
Nice and
you
soft.
could have people rubbing your feet because they're soft, right?
Yes, I've got lovely soft feet. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
If we could do that, let's play a track.
Lady. I'm going to dig up some of the old school tracks that were making it in the charts. Go for it, HPQ.
I'm just looking at G-Force's answer saying that he would do it shaving his head.
And I was asking him which one.
I'm just thinking of the fact that he has to shave it. That I don't know if I, yeah, the picture. Get the picture out. I'll get the picture out. And Shazstar says yes, she would do it. So yes, let's have a look. Pablo Mix says blessed morning breakfast flight crew and everybody.
Everybody.
Adelaide says I would remove my arms out hairs. I think she's saying that she would remove
Armpits
the
out,
hairs out.
knocked out.
Ah, okay. Yes, all of that on OnlyFans. Why not? It's there to make a living from. Seriously, I'm seriously thinking about it. What asset do I have that I could use quite well?
I think I'll try something here. Go on and see if it works. I'll just if I just show back that part of my face, yeah.
Yeah,
The
they'd
bottom
recognise
part.
you in a second.
No, not the bottom part. Not if I shave the beard.
All things like squeezing spots, all of that on
Imagine-
TikTok, you can see.
Imagine doing that and becoming a millionaire. I'd be like, wow, why didn't I do this before?
We spoke about that before, Dirty knickers is a way of making a living, but we'll talk about that another time.
Oh dear.
Now, talking about dirty stuff, and G-Force was talking about shaving his head. For those of you that have partners that go to the barbers, or men themselves on here that go to the barbers, be careful just as much as women do. You go to the hairdressers. COVID time, everything was sanitized, right? Everything was sanitized and clean. If you were the clean freak, you'd feel well at ease going to somewhere, into a shop, anywhere, feeling that it's been scrubbed and cleaned. But what about all their equipment? I don't see these hairdressers too tough when they've used a comb in someone's hair. They're not putting it in that green liquid in that jar anymore. I don't see any of that. I just see them pull out the last person's hairs.
That's
They
terrible.
just pull out the hairs and then start part your hair again. And that goes to shavers, barber shavers. How often do they take the razor and they brush it, don't they?
They brush it, but they do have sanitizer where they spray on it and clean the hair and everything. Yeah. When I
The good
last
barbers,
went,
them.
when I last went, I mean, I cannot say because obviously I don't really go barbers. I cut my hair myself. I've been doing it for the last 20 odd years, 30 years. I think I've been barbers about 3-4 times, and that's been my family, my brother. But mainly, from what I do know, that they do sanitize the equipment before they use it. Especially the shavers, they've always done sanitizing. They dip it in. But I don't know what they're like now. I mean, everybody's a barber now. Well, a lot of people
Yeah,
are, so.
but do they wash and sanitize their hands
I have no idea. Don't go in a barber's. I don't have
after
that problem.
each person that they're having skin to skin contact with? And all of this stuff with gloves. You should wear gloves and protect food. But when you're using the same gloves to scratch your leg or to touch a dirty object and you're still then touching the food with the same gloves, it's not really doing anything, is it? Apart from still passing the germs on.
Do you know what I saw many a times? And you go to a shop and they're serving you the food, and then you pay for it, and then they're taking the money with the same dirty gloves, and then they and I'm like thinking, really? And I've had it actually, told them a few times, that's the same gloves you're taking the money with. They're like, oh, But you know, the only thing is it's not touching their hand, but the money is even worse.
It's touching the gloves, and the gloves is going back and
Yeah.
touching the food. So all this thing about wearing gloves is just rubbish. They just need to wash their hands after every transaction, I believe. That's what should happen, not just wear gloves. Otherwise, you're going to or change gloves every time you've had a food transaction. But, you know, in this world that we live in, when you've got children serving food and they don't really care, and it's just about sell as much food as possible, they're not going to always care about hygiene, as well as adults. I'm not just blaming the children, just people in general. That's just what happens. But with shaving and the shavers, you know, you've got the possibility of catching ringworm. You see when you see all those little
Yeah.
spots in the back of your head, or you see when they don't shave your head properly and they get the big, the ingrowing hairs in your head, or I don't know, the big lumps in your hair that men get. So, you know, you've got to be careful of these barbers that you go to and making sure that they're cleaning the equipment properly. And I think that also goes for hairdressers. I think we just take it for granted that they're just picking up the next comb when we should be saying, do you mind washing that comb before you put it in my head? Or bring your own combs. That's what I'm going to start doing, and just unfold a selection of combs or shavers. There you go. Use these implements here. They're all nice and clean, and they're only in my head or the people's head that I know, not some stranger's head who don't wash their hair for weeks. And then, you know, those people that wear the weaves in their hair and it ain't washed for weeks and it's matted and they've got to be
And it's
digging that
starting
comb
to
through.
smell
Yep.
silly wigs and
Yep.
weaves.
And all the flakes are coming out their hair and the edge of that comb, you know, the comb they used to part your hair, it's all digging in there.
But you know, if these ladies have partners, man, you should tell them. I mean, if I had a partner, like, if your hair, I'm telling you straight away, babe, take it out.
Yeah, but if you're wearing wigs on top of that matted that matted cane row, you don't even know what it looks like. You probably haven't seen it since it was done 6 months ago. I've seen that enough time before on women. Sometimes they let the hair go a little bit too long, right? It's like it needs to be taken out. It's screaming. The hair's like coming underneath, saying, "Let me out, man! I need to get out of this braid that's sitting on top." Or when the braid's that's sitting on top of the matted bit. Ladies, don't do yourself that way, please, please. Come out your hair.
Yeah, we used to go around going, na 19.
We certainly did. But coming back to the news, we know that the government... Oh, sorry. Before I say that, Lady B says, I don't go to hairdressers in the country, but I do in Africa, and I take my own tings. Well done. And G4 says, America learnt a lot about itself from that war. Did they? And then they put Donald Trump in power? Really? Yes. I don't know what the Americans learn at all. I don't know. I'm going to say a word just in case I offend any Americans on the stream. I'm not doing that. But talking about news again, governments, they're on this benefits cut down. They want to cut down this benefits bill, the sickness bill, the disability bill. They just want to get everybody off of benefits. Is there enough jobs, though? We don't know. But they're saying now that young people who refuse to work will face having their benefits cut. The Work and Pensions Secretary has said. Now, Liz Kendall told the BBC government that they will offer young people the opportunity to earn or learn under new proposals to be unveiled today. So in return for those new opportunities, young people will have a responsibility to take them up. Now, official figures published early last week showed that nearly 1 million young people were out of education, employment or training between July and September. 1 million young people. Just going to let that sink in for a second. That's a lot of young people not in education, not in employment or training. Now, they're saying under new measures to reform the welfare system, youth guarantee is what they're calling it now. How many things have they called it? Youth enterprise scheme, I think they've had as well. But this youth guarantee for 18 to 21 year olds aims to train young people or get them back into work. Now, she's saying that these proposals will see an overhaul of the apprentice system so that more people will have the chance to train. Very funny when most employment tells us that young people have to have a degree in order just to get a simple job, maybe like in McDonald's. With young people offered the opportunity to be earning or learning. So she was asked the question whether if the young people, those that did not take up these offers, would lose their benefits. She simply replied, yes. Wow. So these would transform opportunities for young people. And they're saying if you're out of work when you're young, that could have lifelong consequences. Of course it can. Of course it can. You just believe that you just don't have any future apart from being on the streets. And especially if you earn more money on the streets, it's not going to entice them to do an apprenticeship. And we know that, it's not about just making money, and that requires a lot of what we call almost like NLP training. I was talking about this over the weekend. The thoughts that I just want to make money, and the world and the media is showing us that you need money for the world to go round. Sometimes you need to kind of attract them into doing jobs through other ways, and they need more than just earning and learning. They kind of need support as well. They need a huge support system behind them that's going to keep them in that system and guide them and support them into staying and believing that what they're doing is the right thing, as opposed to having money. But with high rents rocketing, parents wanting their children out their house early because they don't want the heating on all day or electricity. No, in all seriousness, with all the homelessness, it's I feel like it's an impossible circle, because on an apprenticeship you don't earn that much money. How the hell will they be able to afford a rent? And they're cutting down on all sorts of benefits. So it's between a stick and a hard stone. I'm glad I'm not a government minister to try and sort all these issues out. But it is an issue for our young people. I think they've stripped services for far too long. Now with all this knife crime, street crime, homelessness, they're now starting to address the problem by just saying earning and learning. Come on, it's bigger than this, government. They need to do so much more.
The thing about it is, obviously, we pay national insurance, and the national insurance is supposed to be for the benefits and stuff like that.
And apprenticeships.
And apprenticeship and all the stuff like that,
And by the way, just as you're saying that, we pay an apprenticeship levy. I want to know how many apprenticeships are out there. I need to get a freedom of information. Sorry, Sharky.
It's all right. Yeah, I was saying that, with the national insurance, so if we're paying national insurance and it's supposed to be cover all of the benefits for people not working and families and stuff like that, what are they doing with that money now if they're not going to pay out what is supposed to be paid out for?
Well, that's a question we need to ask.
It's like a tax that it's like a little sneaky tax. They've been very, very sneaky, the politicians, on what they're doing, and pulling the wool over people's eyes. If they're not going to use the money for the benefits of what we're paying it for, then we should really be keeping that money in our pockets.
Well, I'm about to do a little bit of research on this apprenticeship levy, so play a track for us and let's see what's happening with it. Let's see if I can dig up some juice. Yeah, so this is really interesting, actually. Before we even get on to Beanie Man, I've been just doing a little bit of digging, and Lady B actually says they will apparently use the money they saved to pay off national debt. And this is in regards to the apprenticeship levy that we were just speaking about. So I did a little bit of digging, right? So the government actually earns 3.5 billion from the apprenticeship levy that they charge on all companies. You'll see it on your wage slips. You'll see that you'll pay an apprenticeship levy as well as national insurance on top of whatever else you pay. And you're right. And it's a case of how many employers do offer apprenticeships and how does it all work? Well, they're saying that 86,000, just over 86,000 employers have at least one apprenticeship start. That was a 14% increase from the last year. So in 2022 to 23, there were 337,000 apprenticeship starts in England. The stats are that 47% of apprentices drop out of the programs, with 70% citing issues with the quality of training. And then there was an article featured by FE Week, which talks about the apprenticeship levy turning into a cash cow for the government, which is what I thought. So breaking it down, they're saying the government pocketed around 415 million generated from the apprenticeship levy receipts last year, which went unallocated, which means this money was going to go to the government. So as I said, 3.5 billion was raised in 2022-23, but just 2.55 billion was handed to the Department of Education to be spent. And they're saying 608 million was handed to the devolved nations. I have no idea what that means. I'll figure that out. And that means 418 million of the apprenticeship funding went unallocated. And on top of that, the Department of Education underspent its budget by 96 million, which means the total savings to the Treasury hit 514 million. And in 2021 and 22, the Treasury boosted their coffers by over 200 million in unallocated apprenticeship funding. So, since 2017, they're saying businesses with a payroll of 3 million or more pay each month into a levy pot, which is used to fund apprenticeships for both large and small businesses. The Treasury then distributes a portion of those receipts annually to the Department of Education, which is then ring-fenced to be spent on apprenticeships. Now, the devolved nations which they spoke about is the nations of Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland. I don't know what it is, sorry. They just said the devolved nations. I have no idea what that means. Maybe Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland, maybe that's what it means. And they get given a certain amount of money as well. But this 535 missing millions that are going to the government, I'm quite not happy with, because that's what we're paying for. Maybe we should decide that we don't want to pay the apprenticeship levy anymore. Maybe we should lobby our company and say, where is this money going to? What apprenticeships are going on? But it's not just our company. They fund it into a big pool. So we can't even criticise our own company for not spending the funds. This is just ridiculous. People,
Listen,
spending money, spending our money.
They're ripping us off left, right, and centre in every way, shape, and form. It's almost like unless you've got a lot of money, to get yourself out of a hole, it's almost impossible. The way that the government's got people wrapped up and they force the money out of you. It's like, well, we're going to take it any way, regardless. You know what I would actually like to know? Yeah, with all the money that we're actually paying out, paying out for this, paying out for that, and when you get your money, you go to the shop, you buy a goods, and you're paying 20% VAT. How much money are we actually getting from the money that we earn? Like, that's actually ours. I reckon that's less than 50%.
Of course it is. When you talk about what's left out for your disposable income after you've paid everything out, it's a lot less than what people think. Some people have like just a couple of hundred as their disposable income after rent, after paying bills, shopping. The cost of food is phenomenal. Every time I go to the shops, it's more than you spend more than £20 minimum, absolute bare minimum is probably £20. I get happy when I spend under £10. Like, wow. No.
And they're very smart, the way they do it, because it's almost like, you've accepted it. You've accepted to pay all this money and not challenge it, because the way that they slip everything in, right? This money's for that. Then before you know it, it's moved to that. It's like paying traffic fines, road fines. You pay a road fine, and then you'd think, okay, I pay this fine. This money should go on the roads to fix the roads, to make the roads nice. But no, it channels in a different direction. And some of it channels into the politicians' pockets, especially Prime Minister. Once they make Prime Minister, they could be a Prime Minister for 1 week. They're getting all this money free for the rest of their life. I mean, it's just ridiculous. The things that they can claim for and stuff.
And it's hard because, we know the government spent a certain amount of money on aid every year, aid to other countries, and people kick up a fuss like, our country needs it more. Why are we always sending it to the other nations? Well, don't forget England went around and raped and pillaged a few countries, during their tenures. Yeah, so they owe it to keep on paying back countries. But I just don't think just funneling in millions of money is just going to help a country. We do that with a tsunami hits somewhere, money just rolls in, and
we don't even
sometimes
know where it goes.
The accountability for it all, yes. I know it goes back into building infrastructure. Infrastructure costs are huge. We know this. Chinese have come in and taken that all over. It costs millions and billions. Countries are in debt just to put up a new motorway, cut in through mountains, put up a bridge. That costs millions. It's not just a couple of 100,000. So we do know the cost of building back an infrastructure after some sort of devastation. But, it's hard. Apprenticeship levies, aid, what they spend on war, what they spend on going to the moon. These are some of the things that we don't want to see these things in our lifetime. This is for generations to come, and yet we're bearing the brunt and the cost of this through everything how we're doing every day. Now, Adelaide says, I like how HPQ highlights what's going on. We do need to challenge them. We do. I was reading an article about not paying your tax, because if it's seen as the government is paying towards war, or affiliated with war, you can legally say that you can't pay it. But I found out that the article was actually a fluke, not true. So I'm glad I didn't actually read that out. But coming back to the apprenticeship, Adelaide says, yes, HPQ, it's hard government task, and I support young people towards creating their own businesses and capitalising on their talents and hobbies that they are interested in. And Laurie says money probably going to the war. Now, I believe that too, Adelaide. That's why, HPQ Giving is supporting Ultra Education, which helps, supports, trains, and educates young people to become entrepreneurs, manage their own businesses. So it teaches them the marketing, the financial, and the business skills in order to help them get there. So if we've got charities like that, I'm all in support of them, which is what I do. And that's where some of this money should be funneled into. Maybe I should tell him to go and get some of that apprenticeship levy pot. If you're listening, Julian Hall, go tackle the government. They've got this 515 missing millions, right? That could be going to some of these charities that actually support and educate children in apprenticeships and entrepreneurial training. Yes, definitely. That's exactly right there. You said the right information there, Sharky DJ. Thank you so much. Yes, there is a Boxing Day special quiz. For those of you that came to the Reggae VIP Weekender, did a huge mammoth long quiz there, the Big Quizzle it was called. That was it was called the Big Quiz, but Orlando called it the Quizzle, and I quite like that, so I stuck with the Big Quizzle there. So there is another one on Boxing Day indeed. I've posted them in the networks. Please share the love. It's also on my Facebook pages. You'll find the information there. Just go into the Eventbrite link. Registration is completely free, but there are some donation boxes there where if you feel like donating £1, £5, £10, or if you're feeling very generous, £50 or more, you can pledge as much as you like and how many times you want to, and also you'll be able to pledge on the day. And it's a fundraising event. And obviously, if you don't want to donate, there's no need to. You don't have to, by no means. It's just all about fun and interactiveness for Boxing Day. Just some fun to be had. Be doing some stuff like what we did in the Big Quizzle at the Reggae Weekender. If you guys enjoyed that. Good morning, Delight. How are you, my lovely? Long time no see. Where you been? Where you been?
Hiding.
She has been hiding.
She's been in the background somewhere.
Normally she's at the Reggae VIP Weekend. I've just missed you.
Yeah, actually,
this weekend.
You know what? I went into the room, funny enough, and I kind of saw the sound system. Expected to see her up there playing music, especially reggae music. So I was a little bit disappointed that she wasn't there. But hey.
Yeah, But we're having a ladies' event in January, and we'll be streaming all day with our female DJ. So look forward to that event coming up in a date in January. It's going to be on a Sunday, so all day we'll just have the ladies on radios streaming live. A plethora of women, female DJs, female selectresses, I should say. Some of our very own favourites will be there. Some from up north, as Sharky says.
So I get a rest day on that day, yeah?
You definitely get a rest day. Well. Unless you want to wear a wig.
No,
seems to be quite comfortable.
It means I don't have to do no work, no background work or nothing. You got female engineer.
Yeah. Maybe I can try and do the engineer. I'll go for it. Come on now. Roll up your sleeves. Come on, HPQ.
I'll be there in the background when it all goes wrong.
You'll be there, I know you will be. But anyway, on to some news. Now, I've been talking about, I still need to come onto this inheritance tax. It's a lot.
Good morning, DJ Rudy. Sorry.
That's okay. Good morning to you too, DJ Rudy. Needed to say that. But I was talking earlier on about inheritance tax. That's a minefield of information to get through, and I'll try and get through some of what I've been reading about. But the other thing that's been dominating the news is leaseholders. Now, I don't know how many of you are leaseholders and have seen rise in your service charges. Phenomenal rises, I should say. Now, there's been a BBC investigation that have found that leaseholders have had to pay hundreds of pounds for services such as key cutting, cleaning of doormats and council bins. And they examined about 140 court tribunals relating to the company called Asset Hold and discovered that judges have assessed that it had overcharged homeowners by a combined sum of nearly 1.2 million. Now, these leaseholders have spoken about the impact of their mental health, and I can imagine the steep rises in charges that have come up, and you then have to try and find the money to pay. And I know you're a leaseholder, Sharky, so 1 second, because I'd like you to speak about this as well. Now, there's lots of soaring charges and legal threats that are affecting these people's finances and health. And one such person's told of, she was charged, I think, £720 to cut some door keys. Now, I don't know if it was a main door, which we then know would be quite expensive, or a home door, which would be a ridiculous amount of money to pay. But in 2019, one such person was paying $750 a year in service charges, which is probably about right, okay, and reasonable. Um, but that year, the freehold to a property was sold at auction to a London firm called Asset Hold, and their sister company, Eager Estates, took over the management, after which her service charge more than doubled. And by 2023, her bill was 3,000, an eye-watering 3,198, an increase of 320% in 4 years. Where do
Wow.
people suddenly get the money from? From 750 a year to 3,198. I had a conversation with a lady in Ghana about the same thing. She had to move from her flat because of the service charge increase. And there's no leverage in it. There's no cap in it. It seems like these leaseholders can charge what they
They can
want.
absolutely, absolutely.
Now, new laws are going through Parliament to force building owners to make the bills they charge more transparent. And that's the thing that people have found difficult. That they're getting these bills, service charges now, it's gone up because of this, and this. But it's not transparent enough. And that you don't know what they're paying the contractors to do the actual job, let alone what they're charging the leaseholders in the building. And they're saying that lots of people have spoken about consistent overcharging, especially by these, I could call them estate agents, building estate agents, and especially through this one called Asset Hold as well. So they're going to court to just try and find out how, well, lots of people have been going to court to try and find out how it can be made a little bit more transparent and to get some of their money back. But as we've been talking about, there's no cap on leaseholding. And I don't know if anybody out there is leaseholding and seeing their service charges go up by over 100% or 200% over the last couple of years, which what it has been. I kind of figure it's almost to relinquish the market. Let's get people out and see if we could release housing, but how is it going to be affordable?
Uh, with the lease, I mean, there's obviously different types of lease charges. Obviously, you're talking on where they build the flats and then people move into the flats and then they have to pay their ground rent and then they have to pay the service charges and then they put the service charges like free money and they don't do anything for it. Then you've got the leaseholders that have had flats that they bought and leased many years ago,
Yeah.
and now the time comes for them to release or to renew the lease, and the leaseholders are now charging not only a huge amount of money, extortionate amount of money to renew your lease. I mean, I was a victim of that. I had to pay £40,000 to renew my lease, and on top of that, they wanted a £300 ground rent, which it used to be 50, and they've raised it by like 600%, and now I'm paying that. And what are they doing for that money? They don't do anything to the house. It needs repair. Outside needs repair. They don't do jack. And I think the government need to look into, this and, allow them to charge maybe a percentage to renew, but there's huge amounts. I mean, I know people now that are facing like £70,000 to renew their lease. I mean, this is ridiculous.
The amount of money that people are forking out for.
The microphone.
The amount of money that people are forking out for is ridiculous. I'm so glad that I didn't buy into a flat to be a victim of these lease charges when you have to renew the lease, let alone the service rents, the ground rents, the amount of money that goes in. Is it really going to be worth it when you sell the flat at the end of the day? And if you have to renew the lease before you sell the flat, there's
'Cause
that
you
on
lose,
top
you
of
lose
it.
a lot of money. I mean, I like,
You do.
again, £40,000 or more than that after I paid solicitors fees and that out of pocket, and I'm not the only one. There's many of us that's fall victim to this, and we have to pay it. There's no choice. It's either you pay it or you lose your property.
Yeah. And DJ Rudy says some landlords are not giving, or some landlords are just as bad.
Mm.
And it's really hard because now we've got this landlord scheme. So if you do have a property and you are renting it out, okay, this is talk about renting now, and you have to pay this landlord licensing scheme, pay into this landlord licensing scheme, you're supposed to keep the property, to a certain level. And we're finding that a lot of them are not, are still trying to squeeze 7 people into a 1-bedroom home. I've seen a lot of articles about landlords getting fined because of this or not keeping the property in the condition it's supposed to. But if they've got these schemes to manage the properties, then we should be managing some of these leasehold companies as well in terms of what
Definitely.
they are definitely charging. But the scheme is not going far enough, as they're saying, these new bills that the government are trying to bring in. And it really does need to address the issues with the charges. Sorry, one of my eyelashes feel like they're coming off now. Gosh, let me go and fix that after
And he
this.
didn't even go swimming.
I know, I didn't even go swimming, but, probably the way I'm sleeping and all sorts of things. But play a track, let me come back and fix this eyelash.
You know what? When we come back, I want to talk about the reggae weekender before time runs out.
There.
Really.
Anyway, you wanted to talk about the Reggae Weekender and Beanie Man,
not
so
sure
I'm
if
going to
it's
let
me
you
or
lead on that.
doing your thing. Oh, it's me. Go for it.
No. I said you wanted to talk about a Reggae Weekender and Beanie Man, so yes.
Sorry. Oh gosh, did you enjoy the weekender?
I did. I had a good time. Lots going on though. A lot. I mean, the Sunday was quite tiring because we had the salsa, then we had the pop karaoke, then we had the quiz, then the reggae bingo. But that was great. But apart from that, yes. But Beanie Man, tell us about Beanie Man, Sharky.
So Beanie Man, what happened Sunday? Beanie Man, for Friday when we got there, Beanie Man was supposed to be on, I think, was it 10 o'clock or something like that? Or 12, I can't remember the time. I think it was 10 he was supposed to arrive for. And everybody came in, obviously expecting Beanie Man, because obviously it's on the program. Beanie Man didn't turn up, and it wasn't his fault. There was an accident, a serious accident, I'll say a major incident. It blocked the road, and he was sending through the information and saying, I'm stuck in traffic and this accident, and I'm on my way. I'm definitely on my way, but unfortunately, he didn't make it. It did last, I think, about 4 or 5 hours, and he couldn't turn around or go a different route because obviously, if going up to Great Yarmouth, it's difficult. So I was sort of talking to Orlando while this was happening, and I saw the messages that were coming through from Beanie Man. Try to explain this to the masses, and they were not having it. They were like, he ain't coming, and there was a lot of disappointment, which of course we do understand. But when you're trying to explain something that's out of your hand, and some people were just carrying on away, it was like boo and all this and that. But anyway, eventually he turned up on the Saturday. And he was tired as hell, and obviously came on stage, did his thing. And during the performance, he turned around and said, I do apologize for not turning up. It wasn't an accident. It wasn't my fault. I was on my way here. I'm supposed to actually be at another event, which is in Nottingham, which was supposed to have some rest and go there. But you know what? I know my fans are waiting for me. I don't do BS. I don't do it. If I say I'm coming, so please forgive me. And, there were people that were running it down saying, yeah. But he turned up and he put on a brilliant performance, a fantastic performance. And big him up for it. He turned up, and thank God for Orlando, because people were calling him a liar, saying, you said that Beanie Man coming. We came for Beanie Man and blah, blah, blah. But he eventually came, turned up, did a fantastic show, brilliant show, and then went. So big up Beanie Man. So what does that teach us?
That we should be patient and have faith and trust in people.
And listen to reason sometimes, because if someone's stuck and it's beyond their control, there's nothing we can do. So I think as a people, sometimes if we don't go on like a sport child. Just listen to the reason and enjoy, and wait till the end of the event and see what happens.
Absolutely, but just to throw a little caveat in that slightly. I don't think it's down to people's impatience. I think it's down to communication. And communication is key. And the more that you inform people and the more that they are informed, the more then that they have a choice to what they want to do. Now, when they're held captive somewhere with no communication, that becomes difficult. Mix that in with tiredness. It's a melting pot for disaster. And that's what happened. Friday night was the day that everybody came in, being up for hours, travelling long hours, waiting, hanging around, and to be told, I suppose, that 3 o'clock was a bit of a hard pill to swallow and taste and say, yeah, it's okay. So by then, people were probably thinking he's not coming. It's notorious that some artists don't turn up. We know this. We're not saying Beanie Man never would. But I think the belief was that Beanie Man ain't going to turn up to VIP Weekender. And because he hadn't by the time that he was scheduled, then people thought, nah, it's a lie. He's only saying that to get more people on, blah, blah, blah. Then the rumour mill started to spin. But I think it was unfortunate that the news was breaking at 3 o'clock in the morning to tell people this. I think if information was given from much earlier in the night to say what the issues are and this is likely to happen or not happen, then people could have probably been more receptive, I should say.
And I agree. And I think, you know, artists, DJs, people that are involved should really try to find out what's happened, try to make it work that way, you know, and say, look, you know what, this is what's happening. Let me put it out to you guys. Look, he's going to turn up as far as we're aware, blah, 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 and work with the promoter. We have to work with the promoter. And, you know, sometimes behind the scenes, the promoter are under a lot of pressure, you know, themselves. And a lot of us don't see that. And yes, that's what they do. But as a collective, we all need to work together with the promoter to find out what's going on and put it out there, especially if we're the ones that are playing the music at the time.
Agreed on all sides.
Right. But apart from Beanie Man, okay, we had well, there was Carol Thompson. I fell asleep. I can't believe it. I really
Listen, you fell asleep in the yellow party and missed that. Then you was like, yeah, I'm going Carol Thompson. You ate some pizza and that was it. You were out for the count.
Pizza again.
Yeah. It's the pizza. No, you woke up and ate pizza the last time. You woke up, ate the pizza and went back to sleep. This time round, you ate the pizza. Well, you actually woke up, ate pizza and went back to sleep again. Yeah, you did the same thing. Yeah, same routine.
Exactly. And I really wanted to see Carol Thompson, you know. And I wanted to see the tribute to Louisa Marks. I missed that as well because that singer, I can't remember her name, but I saw her in Carry On Comedy. Fantastic singer, very lively. I was looking forward to that. And Adelaide, my friend, she, you know, them guys, you know, I have to put Adelaide in there.
One second. Verona, yes, he did again. He fell asleep.
Miss Carol Thompson. I didn't miss Beanie Man, yeah. And if Beanie Man had turned up the day before, I would have been ready for Carol Thompson. But we waited long after the Beanie Man concert. Then we went back and I lay down and I thought, let me get up. But what I shouldn't have done, I shouldn't have gone to sleep. I should have stayed. You know, I was going to get dressed, but I should have just stayed in my clothes, gone and see Carol Thompson, then gone to sleep. But never mind. I missed
you know what it is? You took the Lady B position. And when you take that Lady B position, you're not getting up. So the Lady B position is when you're lying down on the couch and one leg goes up on the side. That means you're out. You're relaxed. You're out for the count.
And then we did that. Then the following day, we had, during the Saturday as well, we had line dancing. I did all the popular line dancing, which went down quite well. Adelaide did karaoke. That was very nice. And you put out some live games, some big games, extra large games.
Yes, giant games.
Giant games. Connect Four and Jenga and all that. And the following day as well, we had salsa, again, karaoke. But you done your quiz, which was meant to last an hour. It lasted, I think, about an hour and a half, nearly 2 hours after registration and everything, which was out of your control. Followed by reggae bingo, which was it was really fun, though, wasn't it?
It was good fun.
First time I did the reggae bingo, and it went down really, really well. So, yeah, and then we had the after party, the final party on the Sunday night, which was really nice. It just ended a really great weekend, and all I can say is onward and upwards. What you're saying?
Yes, onwards and upwards. Let's see what happens next. Anyway, I think we've spoken enough about the reggae weekend.
Pay attention, HPQ.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not paying attention.
Time's running out, isn't it?
Time is running out very quickly, and I'm going to have to go after this one. As you can see, I've kept disappearing there. A few bits I've got to do in the background. Other things beckon, unfortunately. It's 9:38, and thank you all for joining the Breakfast Flight Show as usual with House Party Queen. We'll be back next Monday and Tuesday as usual. I know over the past couple of weeks we've been kind of here, not here, but, you know, we've got to have a holiday as well. We can't do this all day, every month. You know, sometimes we've got to take a break. Anyway, for my last bit of news, let's brighten the tempo. Well, bit of news, information, I should say, rather than brighten the tempo. So for those of you guys that love to have your intimate relations on the sofa, you know, The sofa's always a good place. You know, you might be watching a program and all of a sudden you feel a bit raunchy, you know, and get it going on the sofa. Well, the sofa is a mine full of bugs. It really is. And people are catching all sorts of things through having intimate connections on your sofa. So experts have warned, right? They have actually warned, saying that doing the deed in the second most comfortable place in the house after the bed could result in a host of nasty infections. So the sofas are home to a cocktail of bacteria, not visible to the naked eye, of course they're not. And with sex raising the level of illness-causing bugs that are embedded in the fabric. So you come home from being on the tube or the train and you sit down in the same trousers or clothes on the chair, sit down, you get back up again, you may change into your other comfy clothes, you're passing the bugs backwards and forwards. And then you're feeling a bit raunchy, you're feeling a bit, you know? And then you roll up yourself in the couch. For those of you that take your clothes off, for those that move it to the side, pull it down slightly, maybe it might not be there. But for those that indulge properly, right, be careful. Don't say you're not hearing it from HPQ, right? Because research has shown that soft furnishings are a breeding ground for bacteria, as I said, and other harmful orgasms there. Orgasms, did I say? God, organisms. That's the subject. They can survive longer on porous fabrics such as cotton, nylon, polyester, as well as some other plastics. So there you go, people. Don't say I didn't give it to you now. Now, it can cause UTIs, urinary tract infections. They are becoming increasingly resistant to antibiotics. So, you know, seriously. And women are more at risk of getting them than men. Why is that? Why is that? But towels and blankets can keep your skin protective. So have that intimate blanket on the side, yeah? Just put it down, have it ready like Freddie, and you'll be all right.
But Kimmy Kim says, HPQ, that's why I don't like sitting on people's fabric sofa. Question I need to ask you, Kimmy Kim, do you sit on trains? Do you sit on buses? Because that's even worse.
Exactly. But knowing what Kimmy Kim is like, she probably changes her clothes as soon as she gets through the door and gets off them train clothes. Not all of us do, right? Put your hands up if you come in from wherever and you go in and you sit on your bed. I really hate bags on bed. When people put the bags on my bed, don't do that. Don't do that when they've been on the floor. That's my bed. It's my holy grail. Don't do it. Only the cat can go on my bed. And even the cat's got a special blanket if she goes on my bed. And she knows her spot. She can't walk anywhere else on it. Otherwise, there's worry. She can never come back into my room again. Yeah, she's got a chair in the corner and her own blanket on the bed on Sharky's side.
Yeah, I noticed that. It's always on my side. You know, it's just terrible. Do you know what I'm going to call Kimmy Kim? You know, you have Kimmy Kim. You know, we normally would say the OBE or whatever. I'm going to call her Kimmy Kim ODC.
It's OCD.
OCD,
if that's what, are you saying she's
OCD.
got OCD? She's just clean. She's not a clean freak.
OCD.
She's just clean. That's just normal behaviour.
See what I mean? I put newspapers on the seats and trays. OCD Kimmy Kim.
And yes, Delight, I did get it wrong. It's the subject that we were talking about. I got too excited there. You know, I was in the throes of the conversation and lost myself.
Oh, dear.
Anyway, that's the last bit of news I'm going to tell you guys for this morning. We're going to get back to you guys next week. But like I said, you know, have your intimate towel, the sex towel blanket that you've got on the side. Put that on the chair. That could be used for that. And wash it every time too. Don't leave it there moldy up for the next time, right? Because Kimmy Kim will have a fit.
Moldy up.
Anyway, guys, I shall see you next week with more news.